To order. The first thing on the agenda is a continuation of the site plan approval hearing for Lincoln Street, the proposed warehouse to be built on Lincoln Street. We'll start off by asking the engineer, Mr. Silva. Oh, yes. For the record, Mr. Noyes has recused himself. As I was saying, we'll start off by the engineer, Mr. Silva, to explain what has transpired in the last week or so.
If you recall at the last meeting there, when we finished up and we continued, there was discussion about the driveways, the truck access, and there was basically a request that we consider putting in a driveway to the north of the ones that we have on Lincoln Street, in order to encourage the truck traffic to be away from the bulk of Lincoln Street. So the changes that are on the set of plans that you have before you is that we added in an access drive here, which is in that northern area, connecting into just about where the Lincoln Street relocation and the existing Lincoln Street, where they kind of come together. And right in there, it's a two-way drive that would come in, and it would allow for passage of trucks in both directions towards the rear of the building itself. Along with that, we reconfigured this little bottleneck area in here in order to make that more fluid for the truck traffic going back and forth in there. The other plan had a little bit more of a constraint in there. This is a lot more open as far as the aisle in both directions. So these in the location at Lincoln Street for exiting vehicles, up here at that bend for exiting vehicles, and also as they leave the back of the building, there will be signage that basically says truck route to 106. So basically encourages them to go in that direction, so that they, number one, for those that do come in through the 60-foot access off of Route 24 through the area of the Shell site, that they that if they were familiar with things, this sign here would let them know that you don't go back up to where you were, because you're not making a left turn to go that way. So this is going to be telling you, this is the way to go to Route 106. And so you have the sign at the entrance there, and the one, like I say, in the back there. We've added, we modified what we were showing for the septic, because we were showing you the septic for a full build out of the entire site. We've modified it just to show the area that will be built out for a septic for this project, and we just reserving the area that would be if a future expansion, if anything were to occur in the future, either up at the corner here, or if anything were to be in this area here in the future, which there are no plans for. And I mean that honestly. There's nothing that anybody is even considering at that point. So, we've also added notations on the plan for these two areas. Now that we put this driveway in here, we've put a note in this area here, and also on the back side over here, to maintain a vegetated buffer to those residential, the rear of those residential properties. There's a good there's a good wooded area on the properties themselves and just off of the properties, but we're going to try to keep as much as we can in there, especially it's much wider along that driveway entrance in there. Once you come around this way, it'll be a little bit less of the tree buffer, but then there's also this sort of drainage basin kind of area in here before you even get close to where the driveway is. The other issues that we made changes on, I mean, that's pretty much, I want to say, that was pretty much the focus of the comments. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the focus of what was made in terms of changes based on the comments that we heard. And what we tried to do is to try to address those. So having said that, I mean, I've answered whatever questions that you might have. Any further questions?
Anybody on the board have any questions?
On this access road,
Yes,
it's doubled, it's two-way traffic.
that's correct.
How much asphalt is there?
That's a 30-foot access road. 30-foot wide. All driveways on this project are 30-foot wide, unless the only ones that aren't 30-foot wide are the ones between passenger vehicles, and those are 24 foot. But even like the outside one in this area here is a 30. Anywhere that there's even the possibility of a truck being on it would be a 30-foot road.
Okay.
And I would say that the radius that this radius coming in, leaving in here, that's a 100-foot radius. That's a pretty generous radius in there. We have 50 foots out at the streets and stuff. So tried to make this as fluid as possible, because what you don't want to have is a lot of, somebody going into another lane. Like we talked about that, about somebody having to move the truck out to another lane to come in and so forth. We made it so that it's a fluid kind of movement.
Larry, in reference, the new driveway, in reference to the telephone box that's there, there's a switching box, green box in the shrubs right on Lincoln Street. Whereabouts is it to that? It's got a guardrail there in front of it, so.
There's a utility pole in this location, and we're between two utility poles, and we're directly opposite the end of the Dempsey property.
Okay, I think that piece is down just a shade.
Might be down a little bit more.
Yeah, before you start hitting the people's property, it's still, I think, within the old.
Is it near that other utility pole? There's a guardrail down there.
Yeah, okay, the guardrail is there to protect the equipment.
Okay, so this is just before the guardrail?
Okay, it's just a reference.
Yeah.
I think what they have done, I've been, Mr. Silver and I have had a couple of conversations. I told him what we were looking for, and what he's trying to do here is make it as pleasant for the truck drivers to use this, because if they use the other one down around the buildings, you're going through parking lots, which is not a good situation.
No.
They got a nice road in and a nice road out. They got the signage. In fact, I reminded him how it was a truck hit a bridge a couple days ago on Route 93, an out-of-state trucker, and I said, these are going to be out-of-state truckers. Give them a sign, show them which way to go. So the signage is there, so when they see it, they'll be able to, they'll know that that's the way to go, because it'll make it as easy as possible. And basically, I would think that most of the trucks will stay right at this end. This is easy in, it's easy out. I know they don't like going through parking lots, so I think the other entrances, this is going to be much more desirable. It's got large radius curves, so it's very easy for them to make the turns. So I personally think he met the the concerns of the board with this design.
That's what I was looking for, so.
Yeah.
And it just eliminates that big traffic going halfway down the
Yeah,
street.
yeah. It keeps it local, yeah. No, I think he heard what you said, and I think he's done the job.
My son lives across his street in Dedham, is across from a large Amazon warehouse. And they're in and out of here 24 hours a day with tractor trailers, so it's right off.
Okay, is there any further?
Hello,
I'd like to
I
say
couldn't see you.
something.
Did
There's,
you want to say something?
me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Do I just stand up? Can I sit down?
All you
Okay.
have to do is
I'm
be
Ruth-
acknowledged.
I'm Ruth Beauchamp. I live at 17 Lincoln Street. So this whole thing makes me crazy. I'm just gonna be truthful. I'm crazy because, for one thing, I don't know how a traffic light on Lincoln Street, Crescent Street and Lincoln Street, when they meet, how that's not gonna tie up traffic coming from Easton Way on 106, coming off the highway. It's so bottlenecked there anyway. And then you're gonna have another light for Market Basket, so, and then another one,
Ed Hockamont.
yep, at Hockomock, and another one
At
at
the high
high school. So I work at Market Basket. What time do you think I should leave for work? Like 6 in the morning or something like that, like, so I could get there on time? I fear this is gonna stand still the
One
traffic.
thing this will do, that light, you'll be able to make a right-hand turn to get out on.
Yeah, but then where do I go? I'm gonna be
Right.
stuck in traffic.
No, but you'll be able to get down, whereas now, I know to try to make a left-hand turn out of there, even a right-hand turn out of there is hard.
See, I do that every day, and I get out. I'm not still sitting there waiting to get out. I get out, I'm fine. It boggles my mind. I just don't know how it's gonna work. I get a lot of things in my mind of, the running motors in the middle of the night. We went to North Carolina a week ago and saw the big, huge bays with the trucks in there, and it was awful. And I said, "Oh God, that's what's going to be right in back of us." And it was scary to see that. I've lived there since 1978. I've lived in this town since I was born, and I don't think anything has affected me so much as this. So.
Something's going to be built there, that's the thing.
Yeah, but why does it
that's-
have to be?
why does it have to be this?
Why does anything have to be
Well,
built there?
who's to say it? This is, when they were talking the shopping plaza, 20,
Well, that was gonna be a little more quieter because there was not gonna be a 24/7 trucking place.
Yeah,
My concern is you're gonna have trucks coming in, basically, this is across from where Dempsey's, where the entrance into the field is, right? The new road you're gonna be putting in?
Is the where
Because
the
that's
law
about
is,
50 feet up from the.
it's just where
from
the
box.
urban property meets the Dempsey property, and it's opposite that.
Okay, so that's where the little road that cuts around and back of Dempsey's is. It's about 50 feet up in front of where that electrical box is.
Right.
Now, there's 3 telephone poles on that side of the
Yes.
street. Are they gonna have to relocate any of those telephone poles?
Mm.
And those wires are mighty low. What's the height on a tractor trailer?
Well, they gotta be on the 14, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's 13,
13 something like that.
13, 10.
Yeah, a lot of those wires, they sag a lot.
What I will tell you is that in the area that there is the relocation of Lincoln Street. McMahon is the traffic engineer on that, for that part of the project. And they've been working with National Grid to make the adjustments on, on the electrical lines and so forth. But where we're talking right here, we're right where now it goes back into what is currently on Lincoln Street. So we're right at the far end where it goes back into the lines that are there. So it all has to be done to the standards of being high enough and everything. So if there is any issue with the height of the lines,
They're gonna have to
that'll have to
change
be
all
done.
that.
They'd have to change the pole.
But now you've got trucks exiting onto Lincoln Street from there and then from further down, right? Are they gonna still be able to exit onto Lincoln?
You see,
from there?
that was the whole idea of this, making this so that this is going to be the,
This is
this
the
is going to be
courage
the
behind
primary.
it.
Well, it's
Trucking.
to encourage them to do that,
That is
but
correct.
I can't tell you how many trucks I see going up my street on a daily basis now. I counted one day, a Wednesday, like today, there was 58 on a normal day.
You can't stop.
No, you
for
can't
trucks.
stop trucks going through, but I'm just saying that this is gonna, if this place is gonna be open 24/7, now you're gonna have a whole lot more. And a lot of them are coming up through Bridgewater on Elm Street, and then they come straight up.
That's nothing to do with
I don't
this.
think that has anything to do with this here, but I mean, if you've been down to the warehouse that's on Elm Street in Bridgewater.
Yes, which
And,
they,
and just to go back to your concern, when you see that building, it's a big building, right?
is a
It's
big building,
But the
yes.
parking in the front it's the vehicle parking in the front. You don't see those trucks. You will never see those trucks in the Bridgewater site, and you won't see them here because those are on the back side of the building. It's-
So the highway will see the trucks?
No.
And we won't, we will see the back ends of the trucks, or will the highway see the trucks?
It's gonna be on the highway side, but you won't see it from the highway either. But you may see, the only time I think that you will ever see
Fall.
the trucking is in the dead of winter, maybe,
Winter, yeah.
okay? But if you, right now, you can't see that site from Route 24. In the areas that it's densely vegetated along Route 24, those are staying, there's nothing being changed in those areas. So you can't see, I did an FW Web in Bridgewater. You know the FW Web? Bright red building, okay? I can't see that from Route 24. I
And
can
that's
now.
on 24.
Huh?
And that's almost on 24.
And that's
You
right on
You see the
24.
back end of it when you drive.
You
by.
gotta really try to see that thing. And
I
that
drove
thing
by
is,
it. I
and that
drove
thing is
by it
about,
yesterday.
and I tell you, it's a bright building.
Right,
you
bright
know?
red. Still
But
waiting
you
for the
really,
showroom,
it's
though.
really hard to see that, and that's right there. That's within 60 feet of the highway, I think, within 60 feet of the highway. I mean, this one here is sitting way back from the highway. So what, all I'm trying to say to you is, I know you're concerned about seeing trucks and hearing trucks, and number one, as I said last time, truthfully, you're going to hear less highway noise, because that building is gonna buffer you from some of the highway noise.
That's helped me sleep.
I love it. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, 'cause sometimes that helps me too.
Most buildings there's a 5 or a 10-minute idle time on trucks. It's not like they're gonna be running all
Yeah,
night.
that's the state, it's 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. So it's not like they're gonna be sitting there running all night long. They're gonna have to shut off when they unload. And a lot of these places, depending on these warehouses, some of the ones that I worked at in my younger years, the trailers dropped off.
Yeah.
And the area that's up here closer to the middle, that's an empty trailer, and all that guy's gonna do is he drops one full one off at a door, and he picks up an empty one, and then he's gone.
I will
So
say,
those-
yeah, if you're familiar with Route 24 where Amazon was built. Now, Amazon is a building that's 3 times the size of it. Okay, that one on Route 24 is like 3 football fields long, okay? And that one, if you see, they put the trucking on the Route 24 side, but there was really not much vegetation on that side, no real clearance there. But when you do drive by that, you don't see live trucking occurring there. You see trailers, like you say, that they drop the trailer there for the merchandise that's either coming off or whatever. But it's not like, it's not like there's a lot of truck operation going on once they bring a trailer into a position. I mean, is it different than what you have now? Absolutely. I totally understand how you feel about that. It's the zone, it's been zoned for this kind of use, and it's consistent with that. I can tell you that other proposals that were presented to the town to try to go into that site, one of them was a company called Copart. And Copart,
Yeah,
quite
no,
honestly,
yeah, no.
Copart was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, they call themselves an internet auto
Yeah.
auction place.
Yeah.
It's really it's a junkyard.
Junk-
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay? You know what I'm saying? And to me, I was fearful that, that they would push for that kind of thing. The biggest way to get rid of a company like Copart is Copart doesn't like to do pavement. Copart wants to put things on gravel.
Yeah.
And because of stormwater management and so forth, it was the best way to not have them show up in Bridgewater or in West Bridgewater or anywhere around here. Quite honestly, they're having a hard time citing them, any of them in Massachusetts because of stormwater management. But so my point is, there are different kinds of things that can occur. My opinion, this isn't the worst. It's probably the biggest, but not the worst. But I don't live at 17 Lincoln Street.
So, in New York, my brother lives in New York, and they have a big trucking thing like that in back of them, along with the railroad station and everything, so it's very noisy over there, but my sister-in-law says that the trucks idle all the time.
Yep.
Is New York different?
Yes.
They're different than
It's a
we are?
state law. Massachusetts has a state law.
Massachusetts has a state law about idling.
Even the school buses, when they were waiting to pick up the kids, they gotta shut the engines off. Because
Right.
as soon as that 5 minutes is up, it's over. But I think that he is trying to.
I know.
To meet the regulations. I know, I would love to see a farmland there, and I'm old enough to remember when a great deal of this was, and I'd love to see it there, but it isn't going to happen. And I think that he has demonstrated his compliance with the regulations and has tried very hard to do it, and I think he's got something that's manageable. And is it, yes, sir.
I have a couple of questions.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
Dylan Cragen, 387 South Elm Street.
Thank you.
I don't know if anyone in this room knows it, I don't know if it's for this room, but where Lincoln Street is now, where it's gonna be diverted from, the street that exists now, is that gonna remain town property?
Is what gonna remain town property?
Lincoln Street where it exists currently?
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
around-
Current Lincoln Street?
Yes, across the street from Honeydew, is that gonna remain town property?
Yeah, that's town.
No,
You're talking about the area that is,
This.
that there?
Where Weatherby's house used to be?
I think that there is some discussion about having it abandoned at some point, right? Or discontinued.
That's what.
The old road you're talking
Yeah.
about.
The existing one will be
Discontinued.
discontinued, and the common thing with land, when you discontinue it, it goes to the abutters.
On
whether
both
it's-
sides,
on
to the
both
50,
sides.
to the
Yeah, we
midpoint.
split it. And it's, whether it's gonna be any fee there, I don't know, that's upstairs.
Okay.
That's above our pay grade.
I figured as much, I was just curious with the
Yeah.
septic being so
You
close
know,
to the.
It'll be something down the line.
And then, as far as the light pollution from vehicles, now I know you did your light study, but is there vegetation so that the vehicles that are parked in those spots aren't shining their headlights on the houses. I see a lot of parking spots facing properties.
These are automobile spaces.
Right. Along
And
this
this
road.
is.
This road pointing into this property?
And this is also, so this is really, we're talking, this is daytime use. Okay, this is
You would
not
hope.
nighttime use.
But you get 24-hour operation, you have night.
But the 24-hour operation is not in the office and in those areas there. When you say 24-hour operation, what that really means is that a truck could be received in the later hours.
Okay, so there's no buffers in between the parking areas for light pollution?
In the parking areas, meaning this parking area,
So like
There
this
is, there
parking
is.
area, this parking area, and the parking area facing their property?
this one, yes, there are, and there is in here. The only place where there isn't much of a buffer is right at that corner point, right in here. Because we get kind of closer to the property line here. But in here, there's still, as you can see, vegetation was left there. The closest that we're doing anything is where you see the blue lines. The blue lines is where there's a change in grade. Okay, so that's where that was, so when you see the lighter green, that's where there are changes occurring. So in here, so like I say, in this area here and around to just around, as you come around the corner right in there. So it's really this section right in here, the improvements are closer to the property line.
Yeah.
But after that, there is still something being maintained here and this corner down here.
But
It's
everything,
all being-
Larry, that in green is gonna be worked on initially,
The
but it's.
the light green.
Yeah, it's gonna be worked on initially, but it's gonna be let go to a natural vegetation, right?
Unless they
this
wanna
park-
make, I would say, this area, areas like this on the perimeter, yes.
How about that green,
This area here, this one,
yeah,
that one is a, that's more like a,
that's the more the.
it's more of a
headlight-
lawn kind of thing. It's not like the one in Bridgewater. Okay, this is more of a lawn kind of, this allows for water to sort of go across it. And it basically is, it's part of the cleaning operation of the stormwater. And then what happens is then it gets collected in here, and brought back into the drainage system, brought around and brought back. Okay, so there's no drainage discharges, like, so this is the property you're talking about in here?
Right.
Right in there. Yeah, there's no drainage discharges that are coming into your property,
Oh, that's not me, no,
not this one.
no, I was just asking.
Yeah, but I'm just saying is that
They should've
we're
kept
taking
it.
all drainage to the back.
Okay.
So we're not exacerbating anybody's issues. If anything, we may be relieving some issues that somebody might have with drainage because we're taking everything to the backside.
In dark green on that map, is that plantings?
Dark green is,
Or?
you're talking about this right here? Those are
Yeah.
wetlands.
But also over by like 17 Lincoln Street, that dark green, this dark green here, and
That's
then this
wetland,
dark
too.
green here.
That dark green is a wetland area in here, and that's a vegetated ditch. That's, borderline whether or not it's a protected wetland or not, but it is being protected.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay,
Yeah.
Marilyn?
Yes, Marilyn Raleigh, 448 West Center Street. I have a question about the traffic light and the road configuration. I called a week or so ago, District 5, as far as being in close proximity to 24, just to see if they were aware of what was going on, and I got a call back. And they certainly are aware, and the group that I spoke with have already sent in a recommendation to the whole group. I guess my question is, do you get a recommendation from them too? And is this a go, where this is a Route 106, this is a town road, and I realize that. But it also is affecting, now at one point in time, Mr. Dempsey was gonna put a McDonald's next to our house, okay? That stopped because of the road. So I guess my question is the state gonna have any input on our road?
Okay,
I
what
can
we,
answer
right,
Okay.
what we have here, we're looking at this. And one of the requirements with this, if they don't get that road improvements, then this isn't going to be done. Those road improvements have to be made for this to be done. So But that is another thing that the road, it's a lot to it. It's going to be hearings on it and presentations, and that will have to go through there. They're not even that far along to even have those yet.
Well-
I know they're working on it.
They've had
and
discussions
they've
with
got-
MEPR, through
they've got
MEPR.
I
preliminary
know, I
plans.
understand that, but I mean, I've also been told that the construction's gonna start, the work is by the October 21. So, I mean, it seems like they're a lot further ahead, and I just would like to know when that whole situation with the light and the traffic, if the state is going to have a say into that, and where will it go? Will it Board of Selectmen, or?
Well, both the selectmen will have to approve it, and also the state because of its proximity to 24.
That's my point.
Yeah,
Right.
no, the state is, anything that close, the state is gonna be,
Exactly, and they told me they were well aware of it, and I happen to talk with environmental people too, and they have already sent their report. So my question is, will the town, and you've obviously answered it, get a report from the state regarding that whole traffic realignment?
eventually it will come. And in fact, the town has an engineering firm just going to be reviewing that alone, the highway, street improvements.
Yeah,
I just hope, remember, the state designed the center.
I know
Yeah,
they did,
oh
and
my
that
God.
bothers
Yeah,
me.
and
That is the
if the same,
stupidest thing.
granted, the people that designed it, I think, have all retired. Because,
Well, I know,
Right,
but
I
the problem is they came to us at a public hearing at the Howard School
Yeah, I was
and told
there.
us, here's three options, A, B, and C. We're presenting, we want three, we want C. And we couldn't talk them out of it, and we got what the state wanted. So I don't want, I'm leery on depending on sometimes what the state says.
Well, I know, but I'm leery sometimes of just letting things go and something like that developing with just another
Well, I think the
10
state, but I
streetlights.
think the firms that are involved representing the town are very well reputable, a lot better than what we had in the center. The center, that, everybody will admit, that is a nightmare,
Yes.
But you
will
know-
always be a nightmare. That along with, the only one that's worse than that is Torrey and West Street in Brockton.
But also, we've also got, which started a lot of this problem, was Market Basket.
Yep.
And that was not designed very well. In the town, I don't know what involvement I don't think the state had any involvement in
Well,
that
I can tell you
project.
exactly what happened there. This board wanted the street widened, went to the powers to be upstairs, and the powers to be didn't want to stand behind us.
Yeah.
That's why you have the crossover road between all the businesses, is because we got them to put those in so that it funnels a lot of the traffic to that traffic light. The traffic light itself was built by the developer, and he was gonna be there prior to Market Basket. The guy who originally bought the old farmhouse there, when he came before us initially, and this is years ago, he said right then and there, I'm gonna put a traffic light in, because there's no way I can have anybody who comes onto this property get in and off without a set of traffic lights. We tried, finally ended up getting, I think they took 10 feet maybe on the opposite side of Market Base and gave a third lane in there, but we fought to get that. But we try to, any development on 106, if possible, we want the developer to move their curbings back. And we're trying to gain as much because we're not gonna get the state to do it.
No, but what bothers me is when you go down, like over the bridges, a Market Basket, and at Plymouth, there's a Market Basket. What a beautiful job they did on those roads.
Yeah,
Now,
but
I don't-
that market basket that's in Plymouth, you gotta remember, was in the middle of nowhere.
Right, but look at the beautiful intersection that they have.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
you
what really
you gotta have
bothers me,
cooperation
because-
of the state and the town.
Well,
When
that's my
Market
point.
Basket was built, we didn't get the cooperation of the powers to be in this town, of which
That's
none of
my
them are there
point.
now.
Okay.
But that was when Market Basket was built. That was not, on the state was not involved in that
No.
because of its location. This project, the state is involved in it. There is a filing with, the Mass Environmental Protection Agency,
Mhm.
MEPR.
Mhm.
So MEPR is doing a review. MEPR is reaching out to each one of the agencies, including Mass DOT.
Mhm.
And Mass DOT, as you said, that they came out with a memo saying what they met with McMahon Associates. And then they've come up with what it is that they want McMahon to do.
State has come up, as far as that situation?
Yes, as far as the traffic in and out of, because of how it affects Route 24 and so forth. So McMahon is working with them right now to resolve any of those comments that they had.
So your project will go on indefinitely, or will you wait until?
The project is dependent upon
Right.
the road improvements.
Right.
Okay, that has to take place. Okay.
Can you imagine trying to see a trailer truck come out of Lincoln Street and make a left?
That's my point, that's
Could
what
they
I
go
said
back
to them.
without-
You know, I mean, I
and-
can't see them, right now, the traffic getting off at 24.
And the man from the Shell station is here.
Oh.
When somebody goes in there and buys gasoline, when they try to get back on Route
Yeah, they
24,
can't, it's awful,
It's
yeah.
That's-
it's off.
you know.
But the light will break the traffic up, and it'll be because we'll be slowing down there, and then there'll be
I'd like to believe you, I would really like to believe you, but I cannot see
I
it
can't
living
see
on
it
my
either.
street where I am.
See it.
Because to me, it's just gonna be another bottleneck. And people that I know, that I've talked about this, that are familiar with the area, look at me like I've got three heads, that it would even be considered. Because
Yeah.
most people say, I don't even go that road anymore.
Yeah.
I know, they all go by my house and
Yeah,
his house.
exactly.
Yeah. They don't drive.
Yeah.
They all do.
Yeah, I know, and it's a
Yeah, yeah.
shame, because you don't build a house on
I'm
the
gonna have to
side
walk
road
to
and
work.
expect to have these sand and gravel trucks go by.
Oh, okay, I think we've pretty well covered this. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept it as presented
Second.
with any stipulations.
Okay, I think we should put on it, it's been understood right along, that the improvements on 106 have to be made, which is something that's understood right from the beginning. Because that's the
It's a
last thing
disaster.
we want to see without it.
No, it's a bad introduction to our town. And that's all I can say. People don't like it. They say, I don't even go through your town anymore.
Yeah, if they
They
keep
used to
the-
blame Phil Tuck.
No, I wish the heck we had Phil Tuck back again, to take care of these damn trucks.
Okay, we have a motion, did we have a second?
Second.
And we had the condition.
The improvements have to be done.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? No opposed. Unanimous of the four present and voting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Not a little
folks.
meeting anymore, it's quiet.
Yeah. Pretty soon.
I try to do, when I do design, I really do try to do it
This-
as if
I
I'm a
know.
road.
Right here.
I
I
know,
really
it's
try
just
to,
I've lived
right?
here for so
No,
long, and
That's in
it's.
Dempsey's. They go to this.
I know.
So see, that's where.
This road.